Well, they're not stupid. They're infants. Here's your look at the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze, Professor Jordan Perry. Those heroes in a half shell are back in an all-new adventure. Find the secret of the ooze as the fearsome foursome go after the glowing canister and the TGRI scientists that have fallen into the hands of the evil Shredder. This TMNT action figure 2-pack includes 2 versions of Professor Jordan Perry, in lab coat and in hazmat jumpsuit. Includes full TGRI canister, empty TGRI canister, interchangeable hands, hard hat, clipboard, 2 pairs of glasses, and a full set of lab equipment. While the Shredder has to deal with a bunch of babies. Let's grab the tape measure and see how tall the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Secret of the Ooze Professor Perry stands ×2. I'd like to thank as well the folks over at NECA that did provide this sample. This is, by the way, available right now over on their site for $59.99. For a 2-pack, that's not bad at all. Each of the individual figures, though, of Perry are going to stand about 6.5 inches in height. It's going to be about the same on both. And that translates to a figure that's going to be about 17 centimeters tall. I probably should have had Shredder prepared for this, but we're going to do some stand-ins at least for right now. Stand-ins in a half shell. Here's what Perry looks like not only with Donatello, but as well Michelangelo. For a slightly smaller figure, here's also what the figure looks like with their master Splinter. What does have me intrigued about this set is that NECA chose to have Perry packed in 2, as opposed to sold individually. Lab coat Perry would be the one I consider the most from the movie. Hazmat suit Perry we only see for a short period of time when he's wandering and surveying the land. I would have imagined, if they wanted to release Hazmat Jordan Perry, that they could have released it as a convention exclusive. Yet, here we are. We're looking at 2 of them instead. They do pretty good, though, in the way of accessories. Although, with many of the things that come include the lab coat version of Jordan Perry, many of them really do need a table. There's no real table that comes included with them. Like, for example, it comes with a little rack of test tubes. All of the test tubes, though, are removable, so you want to really be careful. Blue, red, and of course green. All test tubes you can easily remove if you want to. But again, we don't really have anything for the way of a table. We have a few measuring cups, it seems, with little lips on the end of it. They're nicely done here in clear translucent plastic. We've got a couple of various different bottles here as well. None of these, by the way, again, really have anything to accommodate them like a table. So I'm going to see if I can get something very small in a way of a table so I can put any of these on top of them. A bottle, you get a couple of slightly smaller containers, all sort of tinted in an off-brown color. You also get as well a few little beakers, a circular rounded beaker down below here. And all these, by the way, these ones at least, have been colored at the bottom to look at least like they've got a liquid inside. What's funny about this one is the actual part that I think siphons the liquid from one area to the other. It's a slightly more softer plastic. You get a couple of them also as well that come included with standees. So the one that can't really hold on his own and weeble back and forth like wobbles. Was it Weeblers? Weeblers? You at least have yourself little standees. So these sit on top of those. And then you also get a slightly larger one, which basically works the exact same way. There's a little standee. I'm surprised actually I haven't. Oh, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. Little standee. And of course, you got yourself a tiny little beaker on top. Look at that. Wrong beaker. The figure also as well comes included with 2 versions of the TGRI canister. One that's empty. So everybody check their seats right now. Make sure we haven't spilt these anywhere. Another one that is actually full. The containers themselves, other than having the liquid inside slightly different colored, obviously the green being full, the clear being empty, they seem to be exactly the same container. There's no cracks or anything on either one of these, nor do they actually open up. Nice little containers. We have gotten these TGRI canisters before. I mean, the more the merrier, I always feel. The figure also comes included. Now, I've already taken the liberty of swapping out these hands. They both come with relaxed hands. I did already pop these off, by the way. Funny enough, though, I did pop them off. Obviously, they only belong on one side of the figure's body anyways, but I did pop off both of them in favor of somewhat more the gripping hands, especially for holding the canister and for holding the clipboard. But these hands, again, you just pop them off. I'm really kind of surprised that they chose only to give him this number of hands, because he only really has these hands, and then whatever hands he's currently carrying right now on the ends of his sleeves. The version for Hazmat Perry does come included with a clipboard. Not to commit the idea that the clipboard has to belong to lab suit or hazmat suit Jordan Perry. You can easily just have it displayed if you want with the lab coat version of him. Nice little clipboard, though. And the figure also comes included with a hard hat. The hard hat is not the softest of plastics. As we look in a second here, when you're putting on his head, you just want to be careful. I worry really with these being painted as well as they do. I would just think that with putting a hard hat over top of his head like this, it's going to start to scrape away the paint on his forehead. We're going to talk more about that in a moment. The figure also comes included with the smallest of accessories, most likely to be lost if you're not too careful. Again, I jinxed myself, I'm sure, by saying that. You get pairs of glasses. Now, the pairs of glasses, funny enough, aren't the exact same pair. Yet, looking on the back of the packaging, the way they've taken the images of both pairs, you would swear that the glass frames are exactly the same size. See how this one's a little bit smaller of a frame than this one here? Based at least on what I'm seeing on the back, I would probably opt to go with the larger frames for the lab coat version of Perry, and then choosing instead to go with the smaller frame for hazmat suit Perry. So let's do that right now. This one I don't have to worry about a hard hat, so we're going to go ahead and pick the figure up right now. When you're putting the glasses in, I don't know if you guys can see, there's a hole and a hole on either side of his head, just above his ears. You just take the glasses and you just tuck them underneath his hair, and you just push them against those holes. Now, if you line everything up accordingly, you can actually get the glasses pretty good and secure in there. Not that I would want to really do the blizzard test, but if you get them, again, all the way on there, he holds the glasses pretty decently, although I got this one frame not all the way in there. There we go. Now, again, you don't have to. If you want to use the slightly smaller frames, you can if you want. But I just think the larger frames work a little bit better for a lab coat version of Jordon. Do the exact same thing on this one. By the way, as well, both the head sculpts look fantastic, looking like David Warner. Big fan of David Warner. Been in several movies, some of my all-time favorites, like Tron, for example, Time After Time with Malcolm McDowell, and another Star Trek movie, although it didn't have Malcolm McDowell in it, Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. Anyways, David Warner. At one point also, David Warner was originally cast to play Freddy Krueger, and then he couldn't do it because he had other film commitments, and that's why we had Robert Englund now stepping in for the role. Anyways, though, if you want to take the hard hat, what was I also saying? Oh, yes. While the heads are looking quite good like David Warner, by the way, the head, it can be swapped out. You just pop the heads off. So the heads are slightly going to be different from one another. You'll see in a second. This one has basically just a neutral expression for his face. The other one actually has his mouth slightly open. You want to see right now? Okay, we'll see right now. Between the two, the hairs are sculpted in about the same way. The heads, at least from the face, from the nose, and the eyes, look about the same. It's really, again, just the differences of the two mouths. If you want this head on this head, or swap them around, you can easily just do that. They're using the exact same sized peg hole. Anyways, what I was going back to earlier, actually, let's get the glasses on there first. The glasses just, again, fit inside those holes on the sides. I have dropped these, I don't know how many times now, maybe 3 or 4 times I've dropped these glasses. Luckily, I've been able to find them. A more sophisticated pair of frames. A little bit, again, smaller than the ones we get here for lab coat version. But again, if you want to put the hard hat on his head, just the friction alone of having to put that onto his head, I mean, the hat's not going anywhere. You have no worries at all that the hat's going to be falling off the figure. I mean, I could tip it upside down. Unfortunately, though, it's going to scrape the side and it's going to scrape the front. I've only done this a couple of times. Long-term plans, I'm probably going to just end up keeping the hard hat on his head. But I just would worry for how much friction that's caused by actually putting the hat on his head, that it would start to scrape the paint. That's the last thing I would really want to have happen. Anyways, those are the two versions of Perry. I mean, obviously in the hazmat suit and the lab coat. Again, you can swap the heads around really if you wanted to. I kind of like the heads that they have right now. But again, if you want to swap them out, you certainly can do that too. Okay, so looking at the individual figures, I guess seeing as we already were looking at hazmat suit Jordan Perry, we'll go back and looking at him. Head sculpt again on this guy's fantastic. The shirt that he has, as well as the bow tie, is going to be the same, although he's just covering himself over with the hazmat suit. The hazmat suit, by the way, does say not only TGRI on the front, but also as a reminder to you as well, it's printed on the back of his body. The suit itself looks like something you probably would have gotten with Jason Voorhees, although if obviously looking at the front here, there's no way with a shirt open like this. He's got himself a little tiny badge down below that also says TGRI with a little image of him. It's a little harder to make out. The only thing I would certainly say, though, is, well, I think I like the colors that they chose here. It's kind of very much an orangish. I would say the closest thing to describe this as tang. It's the color of tang. There are a few little areas, though, where I feel like the tang orange isn't fully colored, as it does look like it probably could have used a second coat of paint. But it does look good, though. I mean, again, I just feel like it's strange that we got this figure packed along with lab coat Jordan Perry, as opposed to just releasing the figure as a convention exclusive. I mean, obviously, if you put it as a convention exclusive, that would only then just raise the prices. So instead of paying the $59.99 that he's selling for right now as a set on their store, you'd probably have to pay the ludicrous, stupid prices online of having to try to track this guy down later. But the fact that they did actually pair the two together is certainly budget-friendly for collectors out there that want to get both versions of him. But it just seems, again, strange to me that they wouldn't have just not released this guy. And again, probably with the larger Dandelion, for example, it came included with the other Shredder. Could have come with, I don't know, some other accessories also as well. And then maybe they could have also then seen the opportunity that because this guy is now one figure short, they probably then could have included like a little, science table or something, for example, that could have had all the things that he comes included with the lab coat version of the character. Now, for the articulation on both the characters, they're going to be exactly the same. Perry's head does rotate back and forth. It's on actually a ball joint, not on a post. I should have really popped the heads off to show you guys that it is actually a ball joint rather than just a simple post. Head looks up, though. Head looks down, only about that far. While you're doing this, though, the helmet is prone to kind of sliding around, which worries me a little bit more, especially for the scraping of the paint. Head moves also back and forth as well. The upper torso, though being a little on the loose side, does give him quite a bit of freedom when it comes to rotating the torso all the way around. The arms do come out at about that far, not fully 90 degrees. I can't fully commit to the idea of 90 degrees on this figure, but he does rotate, though, all the way around. And again, all the way around. Still, again, like, you could say it's a little bit of dirt and grime that he has on the top of his hazmat suit, but again, I just feel like maybe it needed a little bit more of an additional coat of paint. He does have at least a double hinge on the elbow, so I'm glad to see they did that. The hands, though, rotate all the way around. Legs do split out. He does have, unfortunately, though, while you're looking at him, the, quote, figure diaper. Bunny ears, bunny ears, bunny ears. Just because, like, the diaper is as large as it is, does kind of look like he's sporting more diaper. It doesn't probably also help either that he's got a belt area here that kind of folds in or crimps in the top of his torso, and that makes it a little bit wider down below here. The legs, though, do split out only about that far. You can take the legs and again move them forward. You can move them back, swivel at the top of the thigh, double hinge on the knee, or single hinge on the knee, a rotation there as well, and an ankle pivot. That gives him about this much range, about that far up, that far down, and rocket back and forth. The figures, by the way, both of them, whether it's hazmat or lab suit or lab coat, does have pegals on the undersides of his feet. Tappa, 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 tappa. So the figure does have some decent posability, and again, he has the means, even though he doesn't come included with a display stand, you could use one, pillage one from another figure company, and just use it for those figures instead. Okay, on to lab coats, Jordan Perry, which is really, if given the choice, and NECA said you only had the choice to have either a lab coat or a hazmat suit, I would have said right away, lab coat. It's just the one I kind of think of the most when I think of the Professor. The lab coat, again, looks really nice, complemented, again, nicely by the plaid. I guess that would be like a what would you call that? Like a grid kind of shirt. Very similar, in fact, to Marty McFly. Peeling this away, which is something we couldn't do with the lab coat or the hazmat suit, you can see that he's got himself some nice suspenders. Got a little bow tie there as well. Again, the head sculpt on Warner here is fantastic. What's your favorite David Warner movie? Let me know down below in the comments section. Probably would say it's Tron. I would honestly say it was the original Tron. He's got himself, like the hazmat suit, though, the little tiny tag there down below here. The tag is actually molded, it seems, to his body, or probably glued to his body. So don't do what I'm doing right now. Don't try to peel it away from the lab coat. The jacket itself is fairly soft and plastic. Again, when it comes to his articulation, it's pretty much going to be all the same as the one that we've already had a look at. But now he's basically also sporting a slightly different pair of pants because he's not covered over by a suit. You can see some now visible socks, and it seems like his feet, although looking at the two, I would imagine that they're probably using the same style of shoe, that he's not changing shoes when he goes to survey the land. But it looks like, though, the one that comes with a lab suit, the hazmat suit, is a slightly lighter brown than we get here for the lab coat version of him. Again, the articulation could be exactly the same, so there's probably no sense to run through all of that. But again, just a really nice job on the head sculpt on both of the figures. All in all, though, I'm really happy with how this set turned out. Now, the set isn't going for, again, crazy stupid money, as it is at the time of shooting this review. The set of Professor Jordan Perry times two, is available as of right now over on NECA's site for $59.99. It is, though, listed, though, as a site exclusive, which could very well mean that when this guy does sell out, it's going to be next to impossible to find this guy, and you might end up having to pay the crazy stupid money on aftermarket sites like eBay if you want to get the set for yourself. For my feelings, though, still about this is while I am welcoming the idea that NECA did actually decide to package this times two, put two Perrys together instead of just the one, I still feel like they probably could have seen some more mileage out of this and not just release this guy as a convention exclusive. I mean, being a big Turtles fan anyways, I would have scouted out to try to track one down, having two versions of him. So I guess they did save us a little bit of time and certainly saved us a little bit of money not having to do that. Getting two Perrys, not for the price of one, but getting two Perrys either way was a nice work done on NECA's part. You know, come to think of it, Dillinger, the senior executive vice president of MCon, and of course the main baddie in Tron, did get an action figure, but this might be the only other time that I can think of that actor David Warner's been immortalized in plastic. This time from Secret of the Ooze, this time from NECA, this time as a 2-pack. I still feel that there could have been mileage if they had released the hazmat version of Professor Perry as a convention exclusive, because I think with a figure like that, people that would have already been more interested to get the lab coat version would have then been also interested to get the hazmat version of him. I mean, don't kid myself. I mean, obviously, I would be very happy rather to have bought them as a set than have to then pay the crazy stupid prices. I don't ever get the chance to really hit the conventions. And for other collectors out there that don't get the chance to hit the conventions, you don't really want to go and have to pay the extra price to go and buy this guy, say, on eBay. Instead of NECA doing that, they released them as a set. So I guess it is better that essentially this figure you get 2 for the price of 1. For a set that sells for $59.99, on the average, I usually buy NECA figures for around $54.99 locally. So paying a few extra dollars more and then getting this guy as a 2-pack is a nice welcome treat. Both the figures do pretty good when it comes to the level of accessories. The thing I would only say, though, is that the one hand that he has, and basically between the 2 figures, they have the exact same hands. A relaxed hand, a gripping kind of C-clamp hand, and then a very closed grip hand. The hand does look like it's molded to its thumb, but there's just enough ledge there that you can wedge the clipboard into it. I do wish they could have given him a little bit better of a grip hand, but obviously it would have been a harder struggle for him to hold the clipboard, which is the one thing I really want the hazmat version of Perry to be able to do. He does come included, of course, not just with a full tank of TGRI Ooze, but also an empty canister as well, and the Bunsen's, the beakers, and all the test tubes that go along with him being a scientist. Still, though, I wish that he could have come included with a table, but I think to look at that, I would rather if the plastic been committed to a hazmat version of Jordan Perry than the plastic being committed to a table. When you guys think of this set, let me know down below in the comment section. As it is right now, the set is still being sold over on NECA's site for $59.99. And again, that's a pretty good price considering you're getting 2 figures and all the accessories that they come included with as well. Have you guys had the chance to get this set for yourself? Let me know down below. Big thank you once again to the folks over at NECA that did provide the sample of the brand new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Secret of Ooze, Professor Jordan Perry, that we had the chance to have a look in this review. For your video question for today, what's your favorite David Warner movie? I would probably either say it's Star Trek. I was going to say Star Trek, The Search for Spock. That's Star Trek 3. He is in Star Trek 5, The Final Frontier. The one I remember him more is Chancellor Gorgon. Is it Gorgon from Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country? Though my all-time favorite David Warner movie has to be Tron. What's your favorite Warner movie? Let me know down below in the comment section. And if you guys did enjoy this video, throw it a like. Why not? If you guys want to certainly stick around for more, well then, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below and that you're also turning on the bell notification. We're going to have some more NECA reviews coming your way in the pipeline, so make sure you're coming back here on a regular basis. And as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.